Welcome in, my fellow fitness enthusiasts, to today's instructional video coming to you guys from Revision Training LLC. Today we're going to be talking about one of the major aspects of overall health and fitness. We're of course talking about balance in all things. This is going to be so important. Stay with me here. Whether you're a beginner or an elite, doesn't matter. I'm going to show you some really cool stuff today, talk to you about the benefits of balance and making sure that you build it into your routine. And you get to see me make a little bit of a fool of myself. This is not my strong area, but it's something that I know is super important as an athlete, just for my overall health. So it's something that I continue to work with. So you guys are going to get to see me wobbling around a little bit today, and that's okay. So let me introduce myself to you. My name is Tyler Marin. I am owner of Revision Training LLC, where our mission is to bring accessibility fitness to you guys. Fitness in a way that matches up with whoever you are, whether you're sighted, whether you're visually impaired, doesn't matter. We're bringing fitness to you because it's made such a difference in my life and the lives of the people around me that I want to make sure you guys have the same opportunities. I'm a personal trainer, motivational speaker, and 3-time Paralympic athlete, and just overall big fitness enthusiast. So I'm really excited to be teaching you guys this information today. So let's talk first about what is balance all about? Why is it so important? Well, first of all, there's a model of fitness that I think is just so crucial and so important to understand. It's called the 4Q model of exercise, the 4 quadrant. Essentially, you can take all of health and fitness and break it down into 4 separate categories, right? You have strength, you have endurance or cardiovascular fitness, you have flexibility, and then you have balance and functional training. So there's 4 different quadrants of health and fitness that are really important to have. You can have a lot of really good balance, but maybe not a lot of good flexibility, right? You're missing health if you're in that position. You may have a lot of strength, but you might be missing a lot of good balance. I knew a lot of guys at the fitness center who could bench press 300 pounds, but couldn't stand on 1 foot. You're missing a lot if you're not getting all of those categories in. You need strength, you need endurance, you need flexibility, and you need good balance, good functional control of your body. So let's talk about balance today. What is balance? Balance is a lot of components in your body working together to keep you upright. It's actually quite a bit more complicated and tricky than you might think, okay? There's a lot of neurological connections, a lot of feedback from your brain to your muscles that has to occur. So in order to have good balance, you have to have a few components in place. Number 1, you do have to have enough strength, okay? So if I want to stand on 1 foot, I have to have enough strength in the muscles in my ankles, my calves, up through my knees, into my hips and glutes especially, the muscles in my glutes in the center of the body to balance myself. That is crucial. If any of those muscles are weak, glute minimus, for example, this is an issue with a lot of females that I work with. Their glute minimus and the other balancer muscles in the hips, the other accessory muscles, are not firing correctly, they're not strong enough, and you lose a lot of balance, a lot of stability. Now, another thing that has to be in place, the neurological connection to those muscles. You may have good strength in those muscles, but your brain needs to be able to connect and wire to those muscles and have them fire correctly, loosen, contract, in a sequence that's going to keep you centered. So what does all that mean? Really what it means is that balance takes practice. You have to condition your body for it, and the more you do it, the healthier your body's gonna be. So let's start off at some of the lower levels. Let's talk about some of the basic movements, some things that you can do if your balance is just almost nothing, if you're really challenged with this sort of thing, that's okay. Let's start off with some real basic stuff, and we're gonna move up into more advanced things as the video goes on, and I'm gonna show you guys a really cool pieces of equipment. We're gonna talk about the Bosu ball today. Very, very excited to use that piece of equipment. I think it's really awesome. It can make a huge difference in your overall fitness level. So let's start off with just some very basic stuff. Again, this is a practice type idea, right? You need to practice balance. And just like every other exercise that we've talked about, it's all about modifying and finding the level that fits you. Safety is number one. If you feel like you're in danger of wobbling and falling over at any point, you need to keep safety in mind first. It's always acceptable to have something like this jumping box that I have here is pretty sturdy, pretty steady, next to you to help if you need it. Or the edge of a countertop like I have here, this edge of this table, a wall, the back of a sofa. Something nearby to help you balance is totally acceptable. You're not cheating per se, you're using something just in case you need it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with just some real basic stuff and use assistance as needed. Challenge yourself, but be safe. That's the bottom line. So first thing we can do, let's go ahead and just stand up in our anatomic position, feet right underneath your hips, okay? So we got a little bit of a wide base. Back is straight, head is up, shoulders are back, okay? This is our just natural, normal position, okay? Step number one, bring your feet all the way together. Now again, for most of you, for a lot of you, this is not a big deal. My ankles, my heels, my toes, everything is touching right underneath me. But even for those of you who have good balance, you might, just a little edge, you might start to see that, okay, well, I feel my muscles kind of activating a little bit more, even in this closed feet position. I'm not wobbly per se, I'm not in danger of falling over, but I feel a little bit like my balance is starting to activate here. Now there's a couple of layers that you can add to any type of balance maneuver. Number one is called perturbation. Okay, so if I'm standing here still, not moving, nothing around me is moving, totally fine. This is stable, steady, no problem. Now, if I grabbed a ball, a Bosu ball, like a medicine ball, or just started kind of moving my arms side to side, reaching one arm up and then the other arm up, this is called perturbation. Reaching your arms up, side to side. Now my balance doesn't just depend on me holding myself steady, but counteracting those movements that are coming in. That's called perturbation. And that can come from me just moving around, but it can also come from adding in extra equipment like the Bosu ball that we'll show you, making it more challenging. Another layer that you can add on, and for some in the group, right, this isn't gonna be a real like, whoa, you're blowing my mind here. But for those of you who have vision, closing your eyes is actually a layer of balance. You don't realize that when you're trying to balance, you're trying to stand on one foot. When you have full vision, you're gonna look at something, you're gonna lock onto it, and you're gonna use that visual aspect to help you balance. Now, if you close your eyes and you don't have that, or if you're like me and you don't have a lot of vision to begin with, doesn't really matter either way, that's gonna challenge you a little bit more. So just a side note, for anybody who's watching this video who struggles with balance, but you have very low vision, you're already kind of in that second layer, right? So it is more challenging for you. But that doesn't mean that you can't be better, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't fight through it. Just a little side note for you guys, okay? So we're standing with our feet together, okay? Side by side, head is up, shoulders are back. Next progression, okay? We got this, you're good with this one. Next progression, let's go ahead and go heel to toe. So instead of my feet side by side, I'm gonna step one foot in front of the other, okay? So my right toe is touching my left heel, and my feet are one right in front of the other, like I'm standing on a balance beam, okay? And even this, you might be a little surprised. Again, I'm gonna embarrass myself a little bit here. I don't mind. I trust you guys, you won't laugh at me too much. You might be a little surprised how much this might actually challenge you just standing one foot in front of the other, okay? Now you can place your hands on your hips, okay? If you put your arms out to the side, you can kind of kimbo yourself a little bit more, help yourself balance a little bit more, that's okay too. Different layers, okay? So there's just different ways that we can modify these movements to make them a little bit easier, a little bit more challenging, all right? I'm gonna go ahead and switch my feet now. I'm gonna put my right foot forward. Now my left toes are touching my right heel, just kind of balancing here. Taking a couple deep breaths. Now how long should we do these exercises? Really guys, the sky is the limit when it comes to this stuff. You can do them for 5, 10, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes if you'd like to. Balance exercises are not something that's gonna rip your body down like push-ups or squats or something heavy like that. Balance exercises are something that you can practice and work on as much and as often as you would like, okay? It's good. Okay, so there's a progression. Now, assuming that you feel safe enough, right, that you don't need to keep that steady surface with you, or maybe you have a long kitchen counter you can walk along, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do a heel-toe walk, okay? So next stage, you can step your right foot in front of your left, and then step your left foot in front of your right. I'm kind of walking towards you guys. And then as you get closer to an edge, you can walk backwards. So I'm doing heel-toe walk, almost like I'm walking on a balance beam. Okay, I got my arms out to the side just a little bit to kind of help me balance. I'm gonna put my hands on my hips. I'm gonna close my eyes this time, right? Again, for me, it doesn't make a huge difference, but you guys at home, challenge yourselves a little bit. See if this is something that you can do. You might be surprised again about how challenging this type of maneuver can be. Balance is so crucial, guys, so crucial. Walking heel to toe, okay, practice it throughout the day. This doesn't have to be something like, okay, it's 10:15, now I'm gonna do my balance workout. You guys could be standing in the kitchen doing some dishes and you can close your feet stance. You can balance on one foot. You can work on balance almost any time, any day. I had a friend of mine who, when we would travel together, we were waiting in line at the airport. We were just, you know, in the queue, and he would just kind of stand there on one foot for a minute, just kind of working on his balance. You know, you can do that sort of thing. That's what I love about balance exercises. We can mix them in all the time. All right, next progression. Let's go ahead and start talking about getting up on one foot, okay? That's where balance really starts to come into play, right? I'm gonna slip on my shoe, I wanna tie my shoe. I wanna be able to stand on one foot and bring my foot up to me. I'm gonna try to put my sock on. I don't wanna have to sit down, you know, if you need to, but balance, okay? So, again, use a surface as needed to support you, but the next step is just standing up straight, centering your weight over one foot. I think that's something that people miss, right? So if I'm standing here on both feet, okay, bringing my feet together is that next progression, but now raising one foot up, you have to remember that your weight is gonna center over top of whatever foot is staying on the ground. And I just untied my shoe. I'm gonna go ahead and tie that up. Your weight has to center over that foot. A lot of people like, okay, I'm gonna try to balance on one foot. They got their feet wide and they try to pick one foot up and then they're just falling over. Well, it's because you're not balancing yourself. You're not centering yourself over that foot. So I'm gonna stand on my right foot. So I'm putting my right foot essentially directly underneath the middle of my chest, right? Directly underneath my hips. I'm gonna raise my left knee up in front of me and I'm just gonna hold this position. You can stand here. This is going to challenge you, okay? Most likely. Some of you, again, your balance might be really good, but this is going to challenge most people. Now, you can take that left foot, start adding in a little perturbation. I'm gonna make some circles with my left ankle. A lot of people will say, write the alphabet with your toe, okay? So if you know the big block letters, or if you wanna write it in Braille, we can go ahead and do that too. So circling that, my left knee is staying essentially at waist level. I'm not moving my knee anywhere, but I'm kind of rolling my ankle. I'm turning my toe up, down, inside, outside, left, right, down, up, just kind of moving it around. And the whole time I'm balanced on this right foot and my right ankle, my right hip is starting to burn. I'm starting to feel that pressure, that tension. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch. I'm gonna go to the other side. Center myself over my left foot, raise my right knee up, balance on one foot. Guys, every day you should be doing something with your balance. Don't let your body become unbalanced and uncoordinated. You increase your risk of falls, especially as we get older. You increase your risk of falling, damaging your body. Now, if you already have poor balance, don't feel like you can't improve it, right? Fight for it every day. Work on your balance. It's great for your body, okay? So here's the next stage. Again, you can close your eyes, you can hold still, you can add in some perturbation. I can stand on one foot, I can reach one arm up and then the other arm up. I can add in some extra movements, reaching one arm up and then down, opposite, alternating while I'm standing on that one foot, okay? So lots of stuff that can be done. You can feel that tension in your calves, your ankles, your hips. Very, very, very good for your body. Now there's a few other things that you can mix in standing on one foot. There's a few yoga poses, tree for example, where you're standing on one foot, you turn the opposite leg out, okay? So everything's pointed towards you guys, except my left knee now is bent and pointed towards 9 o'clock. So my chest, my right toe, my right knee, my hips, all pointed towards 12 o'clock towards you guys. Left knee is bent, pointed towards 9 o'clock. The bottom of my left foot is on the inside of my right leg, and I'm reaching up over my head. This is tree in yoga, okay? Good postural position to use. Trying not to place your foot directly on the inside of your knee. I think I was just guilty of that now. Trying to put it above or below the knee, okay? So we're not putting a lot of pressure on the ligaments in your knee, but lots of different things that we can do with that, okay? One more progression for those of us who struggle a little bit with it. Something as simple as, and I've got my step-up box here, you can use a sturdy kitchen chair or anything that's about knee level. Again, just focusing on putting one foot up on the block, standing on one foot with the other foot up here on the step or the stool or the chair, whatever you have, standing up straight, okay? Again, little bit of a balance maneuver here as you have one foot raised up on a platform and the other foot straight down on the floor. Alternating, reaching your arms up, adding in some perturbation, turning left, turning right. This type of movement is just kind of a minor progression, something to help practice your movements. Okay, good. So I want to introduce to you guys something that will really challenge what you do in the fitness center. It'll really challenge your overall fitness. This is called a Bosu ball. So some of you may have seen this before, have heard of this before. Maybe you've checked it out in the gym and you're like, what in the world is that crazy contraption? So let me describe this to you guys. Essentially, it's a dome. It feels like an aerobics ball, but it's like half of a ball. So when it's flat on the floor, it's like a dome shape, and it's malleable, right? It's like inflated. And if you flip it over, put the ball side down, it's a flat plastic base, okay? Bosu, B-O-S-U, stands for both sides up or both sides utilized. So this is a device, an exercise equipment that's used to challenge your balance. And much like the TRX, much like the aerobics ball, much like the foam rollers, there's just hundreds of things that you can do with this. I'm gonna show you some real basic stuff for balance, but you can use this for any general exercise. You can do bridges on it, you can do push-ups on it, you can do squats on it, some really cool stuff. I'll show you a few of those things today. One quick note before we jump into that. If you haven't checked out my video yet on strengthening your feet, okay, that might be a video you want to check out, because if you have a lot of trouble with your balance, sometimes that can come from weakness and apathy in the feet. So check that video out. Make sure you're working on strengthening and connecting with your feet. That's where it all starts, okay? Right where you contact the surface. So Bosu ball, how do we want to work with this, right? Challenging ourselves. So I'm going to give you an example, and this is again adding in perturbation. One land exercise you can do, standing on one foot, okay? And I call this a triple extension. So I'm standing on one foot. I'm going to balance on my right foot. I'm going to lift my left leg out to the front and bring it back. I'm going to lift my left leg out to the side and bring it back. And then I'm going to lift my leg back behind me and bring it back. So this whole time I'm standing on my right foot. My left foot never touches the ground. My left knee stays totally straight, and I'm going to lift it forward, side, and back. So I'm doing like a three-way movement. Front, back to the center, side, back to the center, and kick it back to the center. I'm not raising my leg up super high. I'm just lifting it forward about 2 feet, to the side about 2 feet, and then back behind me about 2 feet. Not going super far. Now, if I do that same maneuver on the Bosu ball, it's going to make it much more challenging. So Bosu, again, both sides up. You can choose which side you would like facing up. Now, they say that when you have the ball side up, okay, so the flat side is down, they say that this is a little bit easier, okay? It's a little bit more stable. And then if you flip it over and you put the ball side down, so now the flat plastic side is facing up, they say that's a little bit harder. It's going to be a little bit less stable. I think they're both extremely challenging, so you find what works for you. So if I'm gonna stand up on this Bosu ball, and I am actually gonna use the table for just a little bit of assistance. I'm gonna take my right foot, I'm gonna plant it right in the middle of the Bosu ball. I've got the plastic side up right now, ball side down. I'm gonna stand up on the ball, and right away you can see how it kind of wobbles. My foot's just kind of jiving around down there, and I'm using as much balance as I can to try to stay centered on this thing. It challenges you right away. Lifting my leg out front, to the side, and back. This is extremely challenging without having anything to hold on to. I'm kind of like fingertips on this countertop next to me. I'll take my fingers off of it and just kind of hover over it. So it's a challenge, right? I'm going to try to balance as best I can, but that's gonna really, really, really challenge the muscles in my hips, my legs. It's gonna make me so much healthier. So some basic exercises that you can do. Even after that, when you're not thinking, okay, just so much about your balance, you can do push-ups on the Bosu ball. You can do squats on the Bosu ball. It's gonna make those squats enter a whole new world. So let me show you just a couple of those, and then I'm gonna challenge you guys to go out and do some balance work, okay? So let's say a squat, for example. Again, I'm gonna go flat side up, so the ball side is down. I'm gonna stand on one side, because you want, when you get on the Bosu ball, if you're gonna get on the Bosu ball with both feet, okay? One foot, you're just gonna plop your foot right in the middle of it, okay? If you're gonna get on with both feet, I'm gonna take my right foot, I'm gonna put it kind of towards the right edge, towards where 3 o'clock would be, and this tips the ball all the way over. It's leaning all the way to the side. I'm gonna put my weight on that now, using the support of the countertop. I'm gonna put my left foot on where 9 o'clock is. Now I've got my standard wide base. I'm standing up on the ball and it's wobbling around. So again, you can challenge yourself even just to stand here for a little while, okay? I'm up on the ball, I've got my feet about hip width, and I'm practicing my surfing. Now I can go into some squat movements, okay? So as I squat down, you're gonna see the ball shaking around a whole bunch. This brings your squats to a whole new level, guys. Bosu ball balance work is no joke, but something that will make you much healthier. Now, you can also do push-ups. So we start looking at upper body. And again, when we talk about balance, we're not always just talking about standing on one foot, right? We're talking about strength in our stabilizer muscles. So doing push-ups on the ball, where I've got the ball directly under my chest, I've got the ball side down, I've got my hands on the outer edge of the ball at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and palms facing in towards each other, coming down and pushing up off the ball, okay? Lots of instability here. The ball shakes around as I move. There's just so much that you guys can do with a Bosu ball. I'm just grazing the surface today. The main purpose of this instructional video was to show you guys a lot of different techniques that you can work with to build up your strength, to build up your balance. And this Bosu ball is just a way to add in a little extra challenge for those of you who have got pretty decent balance. So that's what we're gonna do for today. I challenge you guys to mix this into your warm-up, mix it into your everyday routine. You're standing there folding laundry, work on your balance, right? Check out the foot strengthening video to make sure we're getting that in. Take a look at some of the stretch videos to make sure we're getting a lot of good flexibility work in. And as always, from Revision Training, let's change the way we look at it. Make it a strong day.